Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium on the 5th of October 2018. Today we're going to run through the course strategy as we have a number of new members, and so I just want to iterate things to do when stalking trades, starting with the most important thing to do. Okay, we have this also in the list of symposiums, but I simply can't remember which one that was, and we've accumulated quite a number of hours of recordings over the past years. So I'm simply gonna start from scratch here with this one here. I'm thinking we'll go on for maybe half an hour, and just to keep it sweet and short, and I'll try and earmark this recording so that it can be revisited future dates. Okay, so get to your computer in the morning. What do? What I like to do is I like to start, for example, on a higher time frame. So I'll have a look maybe on the weekly chart. So on the weekly chart I can also see what's going on the monthly chart as well, more or less. Of course there are some differences, but you can pretty much see what's going on. And the cool thing about the weekly chart is that it is giving me insight into what's going on in those micro levels that you would not see on the monthly chart. Okay, so this is what we'll focus on today. So, hey, sorry about that, phone just called, now switched off. Okay, so you go to the weekly chart. What do? Well, here it's important for us to notice where we are in relation to the major flow. So you can see that currently we are in an uptrend. And why do we know we're in an uptrend? Excuse me, I'll draw that, because we have price doing this. So you take the two most recent swing lows, so you can see that we're in an uptrend. Okay, so we have the first low, we have the second low, here we have a high, and price has traded above and beyond this high here. So we know that we're in an uptrend and we can draw a trend line. This is the only way you can draw a trend line. Okay, if you had something like this, price went like this and price is like that, okay, then you could not use this as a point because it has to move above. And this is because if price does not move above this high, then this is not demand, and we want to connect our trend line to swing points that are qualified as supply and demand. So this is a demand trend line, and for a downward price move like this, we would have a supply trend line like so. Okay, so this is super important because this is just too wishy-washy. We don't know what way this can go. So what we would do instead is that we would connect these two, which would tell us that we are potentially experiencing a trend line break like that, and we would expect price to move down like so. Okay, and so doing this is too risky because this could be the market running out of steam in anticipation of a correction lower. Good, I hope that's clear. That's pretty important. Okay, good. So we are in an uptrend. We'll just draw our trend line like that. Like so. Good, and now we want to find areas of demand that we can see on this chart. So what I'll do is I'm going to mark off this one. This is really ugly, but what we can see is we can see that there it is. Price, we had this, price went up, came down. This is not a pretty one, but this is important to us because this is where price reacted to. So we're going to mark this off here. Price left, we came down, and then we're leaving, so we have this below price. Price will likely come deeper into this once it comes back. And above price, what do we have? Well, we have this up here. We have this up here. This is a daily area. This is a nested daily area. I have my configuration for this set to, I'll just show you because this is interesting. I have it set to -1, 0, 1. So this is the settings I have in the greater period multiplier. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Okay, so that's what I have. So I can see daily areas even though I'm on the weekly chart. So this is the daily area. Price has reacted once, twice, 3 times, and price is kind of looking at it now. And so you want to be mindful of that. So what I'll do is I will mark the high of the deepest retracement, the deepest test on this leg lower from this point here to this point here, because this is the high, price goes down to the low, and now it's coming back up again. So I want to know how deep price is retraced on its way down, and it's retraced up to the high. So you can see price went down, it went up, and then it went down, it went up, and it went down. So there's obviously something in this level that is holding price. So this is the beginning of the sell zone, and this, whoa, what happened there? I'm using, everything in this house is bamboo, and so I've actually, my mouse pad is a piece of bamboo, so I'm getting these really kind of arbitrary surfaces to draw lines on. So we have this, and so this is the beginning of it. So start selling, you would start selling from here and up. Okay, so this is the beginning of the sell zone. Good. So I'm going to remove these, mark this off, and then I go to the daily chart. What's going on the daily chart? So I need to know what price reacted on when it was here. You can see here we have it again. You can see very clearly what's going on. You can see that here we actually have like a couple of nested 4-hour areas. This one was tested here, and it's been tested again here. Make sure that's not the same one. This is the same one. Tested here, and it's tested here to the pip, and now it's kind of moving around. So what we need to do here is we need to do the same thing as we did on the other time frame. We need to define the trend, and we need to mark off areas of supply and demand that are interesting to us. So I'm going to do the trend line first. Go from the low to the high, from the lowest low to the following low. So we have something that looks like this. Okay, and we need to mark off areas of supply and demand here. And you can see that we have this one here, which looks interesting, like that. Price left, came back, tested, and it raced higher. And we have this one here. Okay, I'll do that later. I can see my rectangles are black, which is why I can't see them. Okay, so we have this one here, almost tested once, this one tested once on the release, and now we're up there. And now we need to know if there's anything above price. So price is kind of starting to work into this one here. We have these tests up here, and you can see here on the release we have to find out again how far price is retraced to. And you can see that price, where the wicks retraced to here. So we want to look for the candle that comes back, tests, and then leaves. So we have a couple here. We have this one here, which would be the more aggressive one. Then we have this one here. And this one I like more because this one is the one that fed into this accumulation. So I'm going to mark off this like that, from the high to the level that poked into the area, and I can remove this trend line now. So that's what we have there. And the thing I like about this is price has not really been back there since then. What I don't like about that, I'm going to write this here so we can see. Good. Price has not returned. Okay. I'll do another one here. Bad. Price didn't leave with force. Okay, so that's what we have there. So that's what I don't like about it. You can see it, it hasn't been back on this whole move lower. I'm just going to zoom out all the way. It's here, it went down, and it hasn't been back. What I don't like about it is that price dear me, price didn't leave aggressively with force. You can see that it went down, it came back up immediately. Went down, it came back up. So this is this is kind of a warning sign. So what I'll do is I'll mark off the high here, and then I'm going to scroll left. What do we have? Why didn't price leave quickly? Well, this, now we can see what's interesting. You can see how price came up here and it kind of wriggled away. So what is this? Okay, this is really important because you can see how price came up and it kind of stuck around in an area and it started to draw these white candles. What does this mean? So pause the video for a second and think, write down your answer, and then come back here. Okay, welcome back. This means that we are consuming liquidity. Okay, so what does that tell us about this area in contrast to this up here? Well, that's telling us that this is accumulation. So price moved up into this area, we start to accumulate, we start to consume liquidity from here and up, around this area here, to drive price lower. So that tells us that this is a child and the parent is above, something up here. Okay, and if you go on to a weekly chart, you'll probably see that a little clearer. Oops, let me see. No, you can't really see it very clearly on this chart. There's no clarity, so we'll have to stay on this chart. What you can see is, actually maybe you can, sorry. Okay, sorry, my bad. What you can see here is that we have the white candle. This is very clear on the weekly chart. And it was returning to what? To supply. So this here is our supply. This is our reaction to supply. What does that mean? Well, that means that this is no longer interesting to us. This is no longer interesting to us. What's interesting to us is this area of supply that is above price. Okay? Child, parent. What do? We always move to the parent. And so if I'll draw this, we can do the same thing as we did before, where we focus on this here. So we have this one here. This is nice, and this one here is not so nice. You can still trade this, but you want to be doing it on the lower time frames because this area is not going to hold forever. This one here is going to hold for a longer period of time. Okay, so this is very important. Keep in mind that once price moves above this high here on the monthly chart, we'll have something that looks like that. So we'll have an uptrend on the monthly chart. Okay, swaps are also long, and so the major flows are going to be moving into this currency on the buy side. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But we have this area here, which is lovely. Price has returned back to this level here. What does that mean? I think you all know what that means. That means that the sell zone starts at the high of this test here. We'll mark that off. We'll go to the small time frame and we'll find that area. So this is where it is. You can see it. This is the weekly area marked off. There's no clarity there on this price on this time frame. So you have to go down to the small time frame, go to the 4-hour chart, and this is where we go for clarity. We look for the candle to the left. Let me see if I can get it to show. Maybe just go like this. Manual bar count, we'll get 10,000. Cool. So this is what we can see. We have the green candle. What was the price level that price returned to prior to the release? It's here. So this is the beginning of the sell zone, and look what we have right above it. We have this picture perfect area of supply, and I would probably mark it off like that. That's what mark off. So for me, I would be interested in selling once price got up to here. So for me, this would be the beginning of the sell zone. And this is interesting because we had this price wriggle lower. Price had one last push higher. Boom, and then it left. And look at this black space from here all the way over to current price. Price has not been back there since. See, it hasn't been back there. So this would be a very interesting area to have a look at for a like a medium term sell position, keeping in mind that you're going to be trading against these, and also keeping in mind that once we break that previous high, that on the bigger time frames we are going to be, sorry for all this racing around, we are going to be moving higher. I'll draw it with this to make it super clear. So we have the first low, we have the second low. Price moves higher from here. If this is a question, hasn't happened yet, if price manages to move above here, what does that mean? That means that we have demand being respected and supply being consumed by this demand. And so that's what you see. You can see here we have demand, demand, demand. So this is telling us that we want to be positioning ourselves long because we expect this to happen. What will happen? Price fed into supply, and this brought price lower into what? Into opposing demand. So we have child, parent. Where did price come back to? It came back to the parent. It went through the child. It almost always does. And it found this. This is what we saw up here. Okay, we looked at this and we said, this looks like supply. No, it's not supply. This is accumulation. And you can see this clearly on the daily chart with all of the white candles being drawn. This is simply liquidity being distributed to drive the market lower. Okay, let me turn this off. There we are. Cool, I'll delete these because these I think we're done with. And this one here. So what do we have here? So what are we looking at? Well, we are looking at, go to the smaller time frame. Sorry for racing around really quickly like this. I just want to find. So this is what we have. This is the beginning of that area there. Keep in mind that you can keep doing this and you can keep going all the way up. But the cool thing about this is that you're going to be identifying these areas that are located above price, so you know where you're going to be looking to looking for price to react at also in the future. So price is moving up. I like this area here, this like kind of turning point. Price went up and it went down, and this is supply because price moved down very, very quickly. But also keep in mind that this, you see all these white candles here, that's fine, but there's a lot of trading in that area. So what you can do is you can have a closer look at this area, mark off the high, and do what? Scroll back. And so this one is kind of reacting a little bit on this. Let's see what that looks like on the larger time frame. And you can see it here. So we have this one up here as well. Now we have all these areas that are interesting to us. Oops, did that not happen? Okay, there it is. So we have this here. This is the daily area, and this is also supply. You could consider this a child because it reacted to this, but due to the departure of this, I mean, I like this. I like the pattern. I like the up one period of accumulation and then gone. And look, I mean, it took out all of these lows, which is telling us that there's a great degree of strength in that area of supply. And another thing that's important to, I'll get to that in just a second. And so looking at this, we have the pattern that we like. Okay, and we see that just here. We have another one here. What is less interesting about this is that price has already been back to that level and traded for an extended period of time there. It came up and had one last push and then it came down. So we want to move higher. Price has been back there. Scroll back, see if we have enough data from our broker, and we do. And look what we find right here. Wow, we have a lot of areas. There's a lot of trading in here. We have this. Come on. We have this. I don't know why the indicators, it's because it's so far back. Come on, end you. Refresh. There it is. So we have these two areas as well. This is a good exercise because here we can see what's going on. And this one is good because, why? Because it took out this demand and we can see it like this. So this here has been tested. We got the wicks tested here, price came down and accumulated on the edge of that area, cut through it. So this one here is the one that took out that one. Price retraced and went down, and this is actually the one that price is testing. So this is not supply, this is not supply, this is not supply, this is supply here. Come on, it's not working for me today. Okay, so you can see that very clearly here. See, let's go to the bodies. You can see that we have, this is really small bodies, we'll just take from the low of the push into the high here like that. So this is what we have here, but this has been tested many times, so we're not going to trade that. We want to look higher. So we'll remove this, not good. We have this one and we have this one. And you can continue doing this for as long as you have data from your broker. This is a nice area because it's gone, and this formed below price, and price has not been back. So this is an interesting area as well. This is pretty far away from price. We have this one here. Okay. Of course, we covered very clearly, I think. I hope it was clear. I mean, how we move through the process of identifying areas and how to avoid choosing areas that are not good in quality for various reasons. And you do this by doing your top-down analysis, and you also do this by trying to find the price levels that price has not been back to, so the beginning of the buy and the sell zones. And if you look at this is an example here. I mean, on the weekly chart, this looks like something that you would trade. Whoa. Well, it looks like there's a bug going on in this is a dev version. Good, so you have, I mean, price came down to here. It went up, it went down, then it left. So it looks like that's fine on this. But if you go to the daily chart, you can see that, as a matter of fact, we don't want to be there. We want to be down here. This is the demand, and this is a reaction to that. Here we have a couple of kiddos. The first one here, this is a test on that. And this high is slightly higher than that one. So that makes this younger sibling to this one here. And if you look lower, you have some fresh stuff which is down here. So you can do this as well by going down and looking for areas that are interesting. We have this nice breakaway. This is probably going to be clearer on the weekly chart. Where we have this here, but I don't like this because we have accumulation here and here and here. So price will probably come down to down here, like so. And again, why here? Because this is the test. Price has been back to this level prior to the release. So we go down here, and we'll have a look at that and see what that looks like. You can see that it looks like this. You could even do this. Price came down, went up, kind of came down to the area closely, and then it left. Okay, so that's good. What on earth is going on? Anyway, I don't want to spend time looking at software bugs. It's rather boring. Okay, so how do you know which one to choose? Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of showing which ones that you should choose. And it's very important to always focus on the parent, because this is essentially where price has not returned to. This is really important. You can trade children. That can be misunderstood in the worst of ways. But I'll use that terminology anyway. You can trade children all day long and lose money. That sounds even worse. Yeah, but so it's really important that you do this. We're going to do something else now, where we're going to delete all this stuff here, delete all of these, and now I'm going to look at something else. And this is the notion of finding strong supply and demand. And I'm going to turn off the indicator, so we have to do this by ourselves. I just turn this to 0. We're going to turn this like that, false, and we're going to go like that. Good. So now we have to find areas of supply and demand that we know have a very high probability of holding price. Okay, so what we need to do, we'll go to the weekly chart once again. Okay, so we want to find a very good area of supply and a very good area of demand that we could use to start our analysis. So what we have to do is we need to scroll back. Let's use another pair just so we have something fresh to look at, the Aussie US dollar. Okay, so we have to go below price. We're going to start. We have to find something that prices move through. So we have. Okay, we need to find a starting point. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm looking for a starting point. So let's find an area. Let me find one. Okay, we've got one here. There's going to be a micro area in here. You can't really see it, but what you can see is you can see it price tested this area. It's a tiny area. It's a silly area really, but price came down here and we accumulated and then we moved down. So we have to ask ourselves the question: what area of supply consumed this demand? This one did here. Where's the origin of this move? The origin of this move is here. So we're going to mark off this one as being the origin. We're going to mark off the other ones that are good. We have. I'm just going to mark this. I like the pattern here. And we're going to mark off this one as well. This is less pretty, but it looks okay for this example. And then we have to do the same thing. Okay, what area of supply or demand consumed these areas just here? So we have to find fresh areas that have managed to cause these areas of bearish liquidity to be consumed. You can see that we have something in here. This is the one. This is the origin. Right, this is an area of demand that moved through that. The origin of this is down here. And this is not good, not that good because of reasons, but we'll simplify this. So this is the one, this is the origin meaning kind of like a pullback and then a release. So this is just a continuation pattern, rally accumulation, blah, blah, blah. And we'll do the same for this one. We have this one is gone. What area of demand consumed the supply? It's this one here. Okay, and now this one is gone. Sorry, this one is gone. Which one did it? This one did here. And this is a swing, but this is not the origin of. The origin is kind of like a major-ish swing high or swing low, and this is kind of just like a brief pullback, and we want to see more of a kind of a V shape like this, like this, and like these down here. And so, this is the one that did it, but this is the origin of this move, of this leg down here, is up here. We're going to move this to here, and we're going to use the bottom of the rectangle. We're going to have to put that on the deepest retracement back into this area, which is here. Okay, so we have that. So this one we have this one here. Now this one's gone. I'll try and keep this, move over. What area took out this one here? This is a mess. This is a real mess here. So we need to find the origin of something here. So here we have kind of the low point. It went up like that. We have this one here, but this isn't a very this is not a very interesting area because it's a continuation pattern. These are less high probabilities than these major lows here. But we have this price tested it a few times, but we have this down here, which is a little bit better. The reason I don't like that this much is because this is just a reaction to that. This one is gone, and I think we can conclude that the area that took out this one is also somewhere down here. And now this one and this one, they're both gone. What area did it? Somewhere up here. This one is gone. What area did it? Oops. This one did. Is this a parent or a child? It's a child. Here's the parent or a child, here's the parent. This is a continuation pattern. So this is one we want. And then you keep going. Okay, is this one still intact? Yes or no? No, it's not. Why? Because it's gone. So this one is gone. The area did it. Is this one here? But this one is not interesting because this one is actually a reaction to this one, which is a reaction to this one. And this is still in play. So this is actually the supply that has been strong enough to cap price for the time being. And this is pretty nice. You can see how price went down, it went up, and then it went down. And this is this is just a really nice pattern. And this one was strong enough to consume some demand over here. So this is important to us. But now we need to find one that's below price. Okay. And let's mark off the lows so far, which is here. Scroll back. So price bounced on here. Yeah, I mean, that's not very interesting. So we have to find something better. So we have to find an area of supply that was consumed. And so we talked about these areas before. Actually, we'll leave that on there. Talked about this before. We had this one here. It's gone. What area did it? This one did here. What's the origin? Is this the origin of this move? No, it's not. The origin of this move is down here. And likely a little bit further down like that. Okay. This is a pretty deep retracement, but price didn't hang out in the area for a long time, so we're going to go like mark off the lows and scroll back. Ah, damn it, don't have any data. So what we'll do is that we'll go and we'll have a closer look inside here. Or if you don't have data, like I very likely don't, you can simply, let me zoom in super close. You can simply do this. You mark off how far price went back to. And that is this is likely a retracement to some area of demand in here. You know that because this is where price came back to before it left. And then, I mean, your stop would go somewhere down here. So this is an area of demand that we have. I don't know if I think this is very interesting because price didn't leave here very quickly. And so what I would do is I'd probably want to go down to a smaller time frame and look inside here. Because I don't have a smaller time frame, I'll have to do this on the monthly chart. But we can do the same kind of thing on the monthly chart, so we can do that quickly. Zoom out. If I have data, I don't have data. So this is like the all-time low, as you can see for what I have. So this is some demand down here, some serious demand. And on, let me delete this for a second. On this time frame, you can see that this is a really strong push. So you can see on the monthly chart, wow, there's a lot of something going on here, but there's a lot of white candles in here, so this is probably a reaction to something else historically. But on this time frame, these areas jump out at you. You say, wow, right there. That's a really nice rally, accumulation rally. It's been tested once. Would you trade this again? I would. Why? Because look how price reacted. It poked into it, and look at that huge move. I mean, we had weeks of trading, or like a week of trading. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 weeks of trading, 20 plus weeks of trading at the area. Price tested once, whoa, leave. Next time, whoa, it left. So, I mean, this would be a really nice place to accumulate some long positions. Keep in mind that price is kind of moving lower. Also, look here. I mean, we have this very nice monthly area, and these areas just jump out at you. And the good thing you can do is that you can just click between these time frames and mark these off, because what's not clear on one time frame will likely be clear on another time frame. Here we have another one that looks okay. Went down, accumulated, and then left. Rally, accumulation, rally, test, rally. So this is really important. And so just keep that in mind. Always try and ask yourself the question: what area of supply or demand consume the opposing supply and demand that you're currently working with? And this will force you to focus on the ones that are really important. And so essentially what you're doing when you found it, you put in your order. I'll just show you. Let's say that we were going to trade this again. Our entry would be at the low of this. So entry would be, you know, I use this. Entry would be here, the 60.06, and the stop would be lower than that, We'll move it from here to the other side of the area like so. So this is the area that we'd be looking to trade. Okay, so that'd be a pretty nice area, and price would probably come down here and hang around in the area for a while, similar to this. Maybe go a little bit deeper and then depart and move higher. But currently the Aussie dollar is shedding a value because of the interest in the American dollar. And so, I mean, your stop would go exactly where this is. This is a little bit beyond the low of this area of demand. And your target would be located at an opposing area of supply. We can't see anything yet because price has not reached that, but essentially, price will move down as it does. Accumulate, move down, test, move down, and eventually move down into this area, and then sit around. You get into the trade, and then you're getting out at those parents. So you'd be out just here, assuming that this is what price looked like when it went down there. Cool, good. Well, we kept that at under 40 minutes, so I'm pleased. So I will finish up this video. But this is essentially just kind of a reiteration of the core strategy of Pipnotic. It's super simple, so really don't overcomplicate it. And if you're looking at a chart and you're confused and you don't know what to do, change time frames. Okay, change time frames or change pairs. These levels should be jumping out at you, and if they're not, then you need some clarity, which you can find on a higher or a lower time frame, or by viewing another pair. Goody, well, I'll finish up with that. If you have any questions, please post them in our Discord chat room, and I will see you next time. Thanks very much for watching.